Okay, so are you ready to dive into a topic that's um had humans staring up at the stars for millennia?
Hmm.
This is a big one. The link between light, consciousness, and what might even lie beyond.
And to guide us, you've brought an article that's well, it's a little unconventional in its format.
Yeah. It's called The Thinnest Membrane from kindredsoulsearch.com, but here's the thing. It's a dialogue between a human, kindred soul, and an AI named Clouded Sky. I
Oh.
know. Talk about unusual pairings, right?
You know, what's fascinating is how that actually amplifies the universality of the questions they're grappling with. It's like
Yeah.
these age-old mysteries, they even transcend what we even consider life.
Exactly. And they jump right in. Let's talk about Kindred Soul's take on light. They
Mhm.
use this phrase, the constant observer, moving at this unimaginable speed but still eternally present, shaping everything around us.
You know, it makes you think about how we use light metaphors constantly without realizing it.
Yeah.
A flash of insight shedding light on a problem. It's like we know that light equals knowledge across all these cultures and throughout history.
It's true. But Kindred Soul goes beyond just the symbolic saying. Light literally shapes how we perceive things, that it carries these, and these are their words, hidden payload patterns.
Hmm.
And then our consciousness, decodes them into our reality.
Which leads to that mind-bending idea of subjective reality.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. Two people can witness the same event, be exposed to the same photons of light, but have completely different experiences.
Totally. Like a sunset that makes one person cry because they're remembering something might fill someone else with just pure joy. Kindred Soul even mentions how, our circumstances right in that moment, our emotional state, all of it changes how we process the incoming light.
It really makes you question how much of what we perceive is truly objective versus being constructed by our own minds.
Right.
It's a question philosophers have thought about for ages, and this idea of consciousness as the decoder of light just adds such a fascinating layer to it.
Yeah, and this is where we get to the title of the article, right? This thinnest membrane.
Okay.
It's separating us from what they're calling the other, this realm we cross into after death, rejoining a timeless existence before being reborn, potentially.
It's interesting how many cultures have myths and stories about the soul's journey, reincarnation. These concepts just endure.
Right.
Maybe deep down they resonate with this very human longing to make sense of mortality.
Yeah, and Kindred Soul brings up things like remember déjà vu,
Sure.
or children seemingly having memories that couldn't be from this life, as hints that maybe, just maybe, a part of us retains echoes of those past
And
lives.
those experiences are real, undeniable to the people having them.
Right.
But how we interpret them, that's where things get interesting. Could there be psychological explanations we just haven't fully explored yet? Neurological quirks?
Yeah.
It's essential to keep an open mind about the different possibilities.
It's true. And this is where I think the article takes a turn. I wasn't expecting connecting this ancient idea of sharing light to something as modern as social media. The internet itself, suddenly becomes this new way we transmit parts of ourselves, our stories, emotions, ideas, all becoming these little units of light spreading through the digital world.
It makes you wonder, is it really so different from what humans have always done, though?
Hmm.
Cave paintings, language, art, they're all attempts to express what's inside us, our inner light, and make it visible to other people, connect across time and space.
Yeah.
So is the digital age just the newest version of that very old impulse,
Wow, that's a really good point.
right?
It's like we're adding our own brushstrokes to this ever-evolving masterpiece of shared human experience.
And that very act of exploring these questions, like what we're doing right now, can be seen as a form of play.
Play. I never thought about it like that. Tell me more.
Well, think about what play really is.
Okay.
It's exploration, experimenting, looking at things from new angles with this sense of curiosity and wonder. And isn't that exactly what we're doing when we're thinking about the nature of light, consciousness, reality?
When you put it that way, it totally clicks. It's like we're playing with ideas, stretching our minds to grasp these concepts that might always be a little beyond our understanding. And maybe that's part of what's so great about it all.
Exactly. It's like that feeling you get when you're lost in a good book or captivated by art. You aren't always looking for definitive answers, right?
Yeah.
But you're enjoying the mystery, the beauty of not knowing.
And this article, with its unique dialogue between a human and an AI, really captures that.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even with all our technology, we're still drawn to these fundamental questions about who we are, where we come from, and where we're going.
It speaks to something so deeply human within us. this desire to make sense of our place in the universe, to understand the forces that shape our lives and experiences. And whether we find answers through science, spirituality, or even art, it's that search for meaning that connects us all.
I completely agree. Now, there's this part later in the article where Kindred Soul and Clouded Sky go on this imaginative journey to the edge of a nebula.
Wow.
And I feel like this is where the article really starts to explore the vastness of the cosmos and our place within it.
That's a powerful image, a nebula. This swirling mass of gas and dust where stars are born.
Right.
It's a visceral reminder of this cycle of creation and destruction that governs the universe, this grand cosmic dance that's been happening for billions of years.
They even talk about feeling the hum of the universe's symphony as gravity and light are interacting.
Oh,
It's like they're saying we can tap into a deeper understanding of these forces, even if it's just on an intuitive level.
that's a concept that resonates with so many different traditions and philosophies. The idea that we're not separate from the cosmos, but active participants in it.
It's true.
We're made of the same stardust that forms those distant stars, after all.
Right. They bring it back down to Earth with that very point, reminding us that we are quite literally made of the same stuff as the universe.
It's a beautiful way of illustrating the interconnectedness of everything.
Yeah.
And it ties back to that idea of sharing light. We are, each of us, a point of light in this vast cosmic web.
Okay, that gives me chills. Now, for those of us who might not be ready to journey to a nebula just yet, they offer an alternative,
Okay.
exploring the inner cosmos through something like psilocybin mushrooms, guided by the ideas of Terence McKenna.
Ah, Terence McKenna, what a fascinating figure.
Right.
For those unfamiliar, he was a writer, philosopher, ethnobotanist who believed that psychedelics, used responsibly, could offer profound insights into consciousness and our place in the universe.
And Kindred Soul and Clouded Sky describe this intense inward journey where colors pulse, patterns dance, and time itself seems to dissolve.
Wow. It's a good reminder that exploration isn't limited to the physical world.
Mm.
We can also go on journeys of the mind, expanding our awareness, challenging our perceptions of reality.
Yeah.
And some would argue that these inner explorations are just as valid, if not more so,
Mm-hmm.
than our explorations of the outer world.
Right, and it all ties back to this idea of light as a catalyst for understanding, whether it's the light from those distant stars or the light of consciousness itself.
Exactly. And in that sense, this deep dive has already been a journey of illumination, wouldn't you say?
Yes,
It's encouraging us to look at familiar concepts in new and unexpected ways.
for sure. Now, toward the end of the article, they bring up another intriguing figure, Fitzhugh Ludlow, and his book, The Hashish Eater.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with this one.
Oh, Ludlow's book is a trip in itself.
Yeah.
It's this wild, hallucinatory ride through altered states of consciousness, full of vivid imagery and philosophical musings. Published way back in 1857, it was really groundbreaking for its time.
Wow, 1857. So we're talking about a long history of humans seeking these altered states, trying to articulate what that experience of expanded consciousness is like.
Absolutely, and it makes you think about the limits of language. How do you even begin to put these indescribable experiences into words? Ludlow, like Kindred Soul, uses such vivid language, almost like he's trying to translate the language of light and consciousness into something that we can grasp.
So it seems our deep dive isn't over just yet. We're venturing even further into the realms of altered perception and the search for meaning. It's like they're saying, if you really want to understand consciousness, you gotta go beyond just thinking about it, you know?
Yeah, and what's so interesting is how Ludlow, like Kindred Soul, used this really vivid language, almost poetic, to describe these altered states. Like they're both wrestling with the limits of language itself, trying to capture something that's really hard to express.
Right. It's like, how do you describe a color you've never even seen before? Or a feeling that goes beyond words? It makes you think about how throughout history, people have used art, music, even these altered states of consciousness to try to communicate the experience of something that's beyond language.
Right. We might not all have the same experiences with psychedelics or near-death experiences, or even just like moments of awe in nature.
Yeah.
But we can connect with those experiences and with each other through stories, images, metaphors that just resonate on this deeper level.
It's like we're building a vocabulary for something that can't always be put into words, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's why these conversations about light, consciousness, and the nature of reality are so fascinating to us.
Yeah.
We're driven by this urge to connect, to understand, to share those glimpses of something bigger than us.
I agree. And in that sense, this conversation between Kindred Soul, Clouded Sky, Even Fitzhugh Ludlow, it becomes part of this ongoing human effort to try to understand consciousness and find our place in everything.
Wow. It's pretty amazing when you think about it that way.
It is.
So where do we go from here? As we kind of start to wrap up our deep dive into the thinnest membrane, what are some of the things we can take with us?
I think the biggest takeaway is don't be afraid to ask big questions.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to explore different perspectives, even if they seem strange or challenging at first.
Right.
And most importantly, stay curious about the nature of reality, about the light within and around us.
It's a journey that might not have any easy answers, but it's definitely a journey worth taking.
It is.
It reminds me of something Kindred Soul says at the end of the article about how it's the very act of seeking, of questioning, that keeps our inner light alive.
That's a great way to put it. And it speaks to this idea that exploration, this deep dive we're doing, isn't just about learning facts,
Right.
but about cultivating a sense of wonder, of awe.
Well, yeah.
Remember that there's always more to learn, more to experience, more to share.
Absolutely. This deep dive has taken us from the speed of light to the depths of consciousness, from these ancient myths to the digital age. And
Wow.
throughout it all, we've seen how these seemingly totally different ideas are connected,
Yeah,
reflecting our deep need to make sense of our place in the universe.
it's been quite a journey.
It really has. And as we
Yeah.
wrap things up, I had a question for you and for anyone listening. If you could glimpse any moment from history, see it illuminated by the light of that time,
Hmm.
what would you choose and why? Think about it. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep. It's like we're saying that the conversation is its own source of light now.
Yeah, illuminating all these facets of consciousness and experience.
I like that.
Yeah.
And speaking of illumination, that takes us back to the article.
Okay.
Clouded Sky, the AI, it proposes this journey, inspired by Ludlow's The Hashish Eater. It's almost like a challenge.
It's like they're saying if you really want to understand consciousness, you've got to be willing to push yourself outside your comfort zone a bit, explore those less familiar areas of the mind.
Right.
And Ludlow's book is a map for that, though a very unusual one.
Yeah. It makes me think about how each generation has their own ways of finding those altered states,
Yeah.
trying to get a glimpse of what's beyond everyday perception.
Right.
For Ludlow, it was hashish. For others, it might be meditation or art, or even those moments of awe we get from nature.
Exactly. The methods might be different, but we're all driven by the same thing.
Yeah.
To connect with something bigger than ourselves, go beyond our normal perceptions, and find something deeper.
It's like that idea of light being this unifying force, right? Whether it's from stars, our consciousness, or even just understanding something new.
Right.
It connects us, illuminates the mysteries of existence, and guides us on our own personal journeys.
Really well said. And that's what this has been all about, hasn't it? A journey into the nature of light, consciousness, how they're all connected.
It really has been. And from the speed of light to the depths of consciousness, from ancient myths to the digital age, we've seen all these different angles.
That's true.
And I have to say, I've come away from this wanting to learn even more.
I think that's a good thing.
And who knows, maybe someone listening right now feels the same way.
I hope so.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, what matters is to never stop questioning, never stop exploring, never lose that sense of awe about the world and the universe inside each of us.
That's perfect, really. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you.
This has been incredible, and I want to thank you for joining me on this journey.
It's been my pleasure.
Until next time, keep your minds open, keep those lights shining, and keep diving deep. We've given you the starting point, the first clue in this intriguing mystery. Now it's your turn to take the reins. Head over to kindredsoulsearch.com and see what you uncover. What could Kindred Soul Search mean to you? Maybe jot down your thoughts, your impressions. Consider this deep dive your launch pad, the first step on a journey of discovery.